Morning, Julian. Thanks for meeting with me. I've reviewed your investigation plan and the evidence log. Are you ready to walk through everything together?
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone through all the evidence again, so I'm comfortable going through the details and making sure we are aligned.
Great. Let's start with the timeline. What happened before the incident?
All right, so before the incident, Leslie was moving a flatbed trolley so he could take stock to the storeroom. As he was pushing it, he came across another trolley that had been left in the yard and was blocking his path. He moved that second trolley back to the trolley bay, but during that distraction, he didn't apply the brakes on his own trolley. His trolley was on a slight slope, which all the document number 1, number 3, and the audio 1 confirm.
And what happened as the incident unfolded?
So around 0620, whole truck number 8 was reversing into service pit number 3. And because the trolley brakes weren't applied, you rolled down the slope and ended up right at the roller front for that bit. Then Leslie tried to shout and wave at the operator, but he wasn't heard. And the truck operator, Tash, didn't hear the proximity alarm either because there was constant noise coming from the other plant, which is consistent with audio number 2 and audio number 3.
So what happened immediately after the impact?
So the trolley was crushed under the rear right tire. Supervisor Joel saw what was happening and climbed onto the nearby platform to get the operator's attention. The truck operator stopped when he saw Joel, and Joel then cleared the crew out of the area, cordoned off the scene, and notified the SSE. And that's all consistent with document 1 and document 2.
Okay, so let's talk credibility. Do you see anything unclear or inconsistent?
Overall, the evidence is strong and consistent across the reports, interviews, and photos. So, photo number 1 through photo number 3 support the statements, especially the trolley position and the second trolley left in the yard. And photo number 4, or picture number 4, confirms the blind zone issue. The only gap is that we don't know who left the second trolley out, but that relates more to a general housekeeping rather than conflicting evidence.
Agreed. So nothing stands out as unreliable. Was the JSEA implemented in your view?
Well, not fully. Some controls, like using the trolley for manual handling were followed, but the most critical control in this scenario, which wasn't in place, and that was having a spotter. So the JSEA clearly states spotter must be used when heavy vehicles are reversing or operating near people. Also, the JSEA flags fatigue and housekeeping as a major risk, and both contributed here. Noise is another one. The JSEA highlights noise as a hazard because it can interfere with communications and alarms, which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
So the risks weren't reduced as far as reasonably practical.
Oh yeah, but that's right. Not when you consider missing a spotter control and then noise, masking, alarms, and the cluttered yard.
So let's talk contributing factors. What stands out?
So I see 4 main groups of contributing factors. The first one is the human factor. So Leslie was fatigued after a long night shift, and he forgot to apply the trolley brakes while on the slope. The second one is housekeeping issues. So there was a second trolley that was left in the yard that distracted Leslie. So the yard wasn't tidy, which contributed to the sequence of events. The third one is vehicle interaction controls not implemented, so there wasn't a spotter assigned to the whole truck number 8, even though it was reversing into an active work area. And the operator had blind zones, especially the rear right quadrant. And finally, environmental conditions. So the yard was noisy with multiple proximity alarms sounding, and the noise masked important warning signals and made verbal communication ineffective.
Yeah, that matches my interpretation exactly. So what do you think is the root cause?
So here's how I see it if we walk through a simple 5 whys. So why was the trolley struck? Because it rolled into the path of the reversing whole truck. Why did it roll into the path? Because the brakes weren't applied while the trolley was on a slope. Why weren't the brakes applied? But Leslie was distracted by moving the second trolley. Also, he was fatigued and he was at the end of a night shift. And why did the truck continue reversing without seeing or hearing the hazard? And that's because the operator couldn't see the trolley due to the blind zones, and he couldn't hear warnings due to the noise, and there wasn't any spotter. And why were critical vehicle interaction controls not in place? That's because the traffic management requirements in the JSA, which is the spotter, managing noise, keeping exclusion zones clear, weren't fully implemented or enforced at the time. So the root cause, it's a breakdown in implementing critical vehicle interaction controls supported by contributing factors like fatigue and poor housekeeping.
Completely agree. Strong system failure rather than an isolated human error.
Yeah.
What controls should we recommend?
So based on the evidence, I would recommend reinforced mandatory spotter use for all reversing heavy vehicles. Review and alarm audibility in noisy environments, maybe changing the tone or sequencing the alarms. Run a housekeeping reset in the yard and assign accountability for trolley storage. Strengthen fatigue management, especially for end of night shift tasks. A toolbox reminder about applying trolley brakes on slopes, and a review and update of the traffic management plan to minimize simultaneous movements in the yard.
All of that sounds practical and directly linked to the incident. Thanks, Julian. This covers everything we've needed. Our interpretations align, and we've got a clear basis for your report.
Great. I'll write up the formal report using these points.
Thank you.